Hello. So in this video we are going to discuss about a Cloud SQL and we'll be performing all the hands-on related to the Cloud SQL. In previous video we already discussed what is Cloud SQL, what are the benefits of using Cloud SQL, how it is managed by Google Cloud, architecture of Cloud SQL. So all basic things we have discussed in our last video. So this video will be completely hands-on where we'll just play with the Cloud SQL, we'll just try the new features, and it will be very helpful for the beginners who are looking for understanding the Cloud SQL and working on the Cloud SQL. So this is my homepage of the Google Cloud. From here you can simply type a SQL or Cloud SQL. So this SQL, it will take you to the Cloud SQL page. So here it will provide you a three option. As we discussed, it provides the three version, one with MySQL, Postgres and SQL. So currently these three database engines are supported by a Cloud SQL on Google Cloud. So here you can see in each of these database engine there are three versions. One is sandbox, development and production. This is based on the infrastructure they are using. So you can see for sandbox it is using only 2 CPU and 8 GB RAM and 10 GB SSD storage. In development you can see it is 4 CPU, 32 GB RAM and 250 GB SSD storage. And for the production it is having like higher the infrastructure allocated, and based on this definitely the cost will be more for each of this version. For this demo, or if you are using the free trial account, I would suggest you go with the sandbox version because it will not have a more cost and you can easily learn all these features the sandbox version. Okay, because we are not doing a lot of heavy database things here, so we'll just see how Cloud SQL works and what are the different features are there in the Cloud SQL. So what I can do, I can directly click on create instance here, okay, or start with the sandbox. So I will go with the create instance, so we'll see all the options. Now it will ask you which database engine you want. So in MySQL you will see all this version 8.4, 8.0, 5.7, 5.6. Postgres you can see all the versions. In SQL Server also you will see all the versions. So I will go with the MySQL. Okay, so you can choose any of the database you are comfortable with, but I will go with the MySQL. Okay, so once I selected the MySQL, you will see the two options here as well, which is Enterprise Plus and Enterprise. You can see the difference. The difference is for the downtime. So sub-second planned down maintenance time during the maintenance, and this is less than 60 seconds. We'll go with the Enterprise. If you are looking for production, you can go for the Enterprise Plus. So we'll go for the enterprise editions. Okay, and there is also a difference between point in time recovery window. So it can have the point in time recovery for last 35 days, it is having up to 7 days, but for this demo we can go with the enterprise and we can go with this sandbox. Okay, so it will have the lower cost. So you can see the cost is $0.14 per hour. So this is the cost. Okay, this is the per hour cost, and all these things you can see here: Cloud SQL Edition Enterprise, and then we are using the sandbox version. So sandbox, and you can choose the MySQL versions as well here, 8.4, 8.0. I will go with the default whatever here, and within the MySQL as well, if you want to choose any specific minor version, you can go here and select the minor version. Okay, within the 8.0 also you will see a minor version, so I will go with the default. So this is helpful if you are migrating from your on-premises to a Google Cloud SQL and there is some dependencies with the version with your application, then you can choose the minor versions as well. Okay, now instance ID, so you can give the instance ID. Okay, so I will just give the instance ID as uh, MySQL dev. Okay, and password, either you can type your password or you can generate. So best way to generate, because it will generate the password with all the best practices. So I will click on generate, and if you look at the password, so it will create with the all best practices using the characters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers. So it will include everything. I'll just save this password. Okay, uh, so instance ID I have configured, password I have configured. Then choose a region availability. I want to choose in the same single zone, so I will go with the US Central one, and you can specify zone if you want in A, B or C, but I will choose any. If you want specific, you can choose A. I will go with the any, so it can randomly choose any one zone. If you want high availability, you can choose this option, but we will see this option later on, why we need this option and how we can use this option. Currently we'll go with the single zone, and each of the additional features you are selecting, your price will increase let's say currently single zone pricing is $0.15 per hour. If I go with the multiple zone, you can see price is doubled because it is having the two instances in two zone. So I will go with the single zone only for now and customize your instance. So you have additional customization here, like machine configuration. You want additional one, you want shared core, storage if you want HDD or SSD. If I go HDD, price will be again lower, but for database it is recommended to use SSD. Storage you can have 10 GB, 20 GB, 100 GB. Enable automatic storage in case let's say I'm going with the 10 GB and my storage is around 9 or 9.5, so it will automatically increase the storage because we have enabled this checkbox. Then the connections, public IP, will go with the public IP enabled. Then this is network, we'll talk about this network as well. Data protection, some options are mentioned here, and lot of features we can check here. Maintenance, timing, any window, you can set your time as well, and all these things you can set, and then you can click on create instance. So we'll not go each of these features. We'll just first see how to create Cloud SQL instance and how to connect to the Cloud SQL instance, and after that we will jump into each of these features. Okay, so do not worry, we'll be covering all the things in this series. So now as we started creating the MySQL instance on the Cloud SQL, it will take hardly 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll just pause this video for 10-15 minutes and then I'll resume back once the instance is created. So currently we started at 12:48. Let's see how much time it will take the instance to be in up and running state. So I'll just pause this video. So now MySQL instance is created and it took hardly 8 to 10 minutes. It got created earlier, but usually it takes around like 15 to 20 minutes, but sometimes yeah earlier, that is fine for us. So I'll just show you the different options in the Cloud SQL and how we can connect to this Cloud SQL instance. So this is our main page once we open the Cloud SQL, and here you can see the different metrics. So currently we just created the instance, you will not see the more metrics. I'll just go with the last 1 hour and just try to show you the CPU utilization. So currently CPU utilization is around 16% only because it is having MySQL instance running it, so it will consume some CPU. Then memory, you can see all the metrics here, and then the total memory usage. So all metrics you can see here. So currently it is only using the 1.57 GB of memory. Then instance health issue, so currently no issue with the instance, so it will show 0, else it will show like error or warning signs. Then connect to instance, how we can connect to instance. So if we are using the internal Google Cloud services, we can use this connection name. If we have private IP, we can use private IP. Currently we are having public IP, so this is the public IP, and this is the default MySQL port, that is 3306. Okay, so using this we can connect to the Cloud SQL instance. Now we'll connect to Cloud SQL instance using the two options. I would say three options. First we'll connect using the MySQL Workbench, then we'll connect using the Cloud Shell, and then we'll try to connect using the internal Cloud SQL editor, okay, query editor. So first I will go with the Workbench because that is the most commonly used. So I will you open the MySQL Workbench. So if you do not have MySQL Workbench, you can directly install from the Google. You can just type MySQL Workbench, download for Windows, and it will, from here you can download it. Okay, so it is simple steps. You can download the MySQL Workbench. So I already have the Workbench installed, so there are a few connections I am having already. So I'll just create the new connection for our instance. Okay, so I'll just click on this plus, and here I will use the connection details. Okay, so what are the connection details? You can see public IP we are having here, so I will use this public IP. Okay, port will be same, and I will just MySQL GCP, the name I will give. Okay, so now if you go with the test connection, it will just hung there or fail. So first we'll click OK and then click on it to connect. So if it is throwing error, then it means it is having networking issue, and if it is asking for the password, then it means the networking issue is not there. So let's wait for it and we'll see if the Cloud SQL is accepting connection from the remote network, that is my local laptop, and if there is any issue we will resolve that issue. Okay, now as expected it failed because what the error is like unable to connect. So this is definitely related to the network because this connection failed before we entering the password. So how to resolve that error? So currently uh, this instance is not accepting connection from the remote network. So if you go to the connections, as I discussed earlier in networking, so we have a network here. So this is our authorized network. So we have to add our IP here. So I can add allow IP. Okay, so we have to add a IP address from which we are trying to connect to database. Now I am trying to connect from my local system, so I can give my public IP. So I use this URL to check public IP. You can else use any URL like my external IP. So on Google you can check any of the sites and you will get your public IP. So I'll just use this IP and I will allow traffic from this IP to the Cloud SQL instance. I'll just put this IP. Done. Okay, so my IP is in authorized network now. So I'll save it. It will take a few seconds to update your instance. Okay, so now you can see it is editing the instance, and the status also you can see instance is being updated. So after few seconds I will retry again, so this error should be gone. So let me just delete the older connections. I'm not using this. I will keep only one connections, that is MySQL GCP. Let's see instances. Yeah, instance is updated and we have our IP in the allow list. So let me just go and try to connect again. It should ask for the password now. Yeah, it means networking issue got resolved, and by default it is talking the root user, so we can use root or we can create any other, and this is the password we saved for the users. Okay, so I will use this password, the root user. I'll click OK and it will open a query editor or MySQL Workbench for me with the database details. Okay, so it opened MySQL instance and it is having a system database it will show. Okay, so if we go on the console, there will be additional databases. So yeah, so if you go here, you can see there are information schema, MySQL, performance schema, sys, but these are not visible all the details here. So what we can do, I will just create one database from here. Okay, so I'll just create one database appdb. Okay, let's see if we can see the database in MySQL instance, and then we'll create some tables as well. So appdb is created here. Let's go to, so you can see the type here, right? So the database which user created, it's under user type, and other are the system databases which is by default there in the MySQL. Now if I go here and refresh, you will see the appdb. Yeah, appdb is here. So I want to create some tables in appdb now. Okay, so let me check how I can create. Okay, so I'll just first show databases, so we can run few commands, a few SQL queries, not command, and it will give details. So you can see it is having like 5 databases: appdb, information schema, MySQL, performance schema, and sys. So this is exactly matching these results. Now I want to use any one, so I will use appdb. Okay, and now I will work in appdb. So you can create different databases for different applications. Okay, so you will not see the result. Where we can see the result? Yeah, so we can see the results now. Okay, now I will create one table. I will create one employee table. So for that I will use a chat GPT. I'll just create SQL query to create user table. Okay, I'll just, instead of wasting time manually writing the query, I will just use this query. Okay, and I'll try to create the table. Okay, now table is created. Let's see, tables is available. Okay, so users table is available now, so can now try to insert some data. Okay, so I'll just open the new SQL tab, and again I will insert query to add 10 records. Okay, I'm just adding the 10 records. So it is just random query from the chat GPT instead of manually writing it, because we just want to understand how Cloud SQL work. We are not here to mainly learn the actual queries. Okay, so 10 rows affected. Now I can check using the, I'll just open one more. I can check now, select star from users. Okay, and it should see 10 records. Now we have created the tables with the 10 records. So that's how we can connect using the MySQL Workbench. The only twist is you have to add your IP address in the authorized network whenever you are connecting using the remote network like MySQL Workbench from a laptop. So that is the one option. Now I will show you how we can connect using the Cloud Shell. Okay, so connecting from Cloud Shell is bit easy if you are comfortable working from the terminal. So let's say here you can see open Cloud Shell. Okay, if you click here, it will have the pre-typed command for you, else you can open Cloud Shell from here and then type a command. I'll just open from here because we have anyway option here, so better to use that. And it will have the command gcloud instance connect. Okay, so I'll just authorize. Okay, now you can see here. Let me just, yeah, so I just, let me close and open again because I disconnected from that command. So I just want to show you the command which is pre-typed as soon as we connect to Cloud SQL. Yeah, now you can see this is the command gcloud SQL connect. This is our instance name. This is the user root quiet. Okay, so it will not prompt much thing. So here it will now add the IP in allow list by default. So we don't need to manually add if we are using the Cloud Shell. So it will add this IP in the authorized network, and then it will ask for the password. Then we can put the password here. Why I showed MySQL Workbench before, because I want to show you how we can add into the authorized network. If you are connecting directly from the Cloud Shell, you will not understand what's happening at the backend. So currently at the backend, it is allowing Cloud Shell IP into the authorized network, and then it will ask for the password. Meanwhile, okay, now it's asked for the password. I'll just copy the password. So one thing, it will not show a password when you are typing or putting. So you have to just put the correct password and enter. Okay, now you are connected. So how you will understand that you will connected? So here you can see all these details you will see here. Welcome to MySQL monitor. Okay, connection ID, all this in MySQL here. So here also I can execute all the SQL queries because now we are in MySQL. So let's say I will show you show databases. Okay, now I want to use one database. I will do appdb. Okay, now we are in appdb. Now we'll check show tables. We have one table, so let's check select star from users. So it will show the users as well. So you can do the same things whatever you are doing from the workbench. It is just like how you want to interact. If you are comfortable interacting with the terminal, you can use a Cloud Shell, or if you want a MySQL Workbench, you can use a MySQL Workbench. So both options are there. Okay, hope you are clear with both the options. Now I will jump into the third option, how we can connect to the database. I'll just close this now and again go back to connections in networking. Okay, you can see this is the IP of the Cloud Shell. It added automatically. As I mentioned, it will automatically add when we connect from the Cloud Shell. Now one more option we are having is a Cloud SQL Studio. So this is a new feature, and here we can use appdb, And one more twist here again, that we cannot use the root user, so we have to create one application users. So let's say suppose I will go to the users and I will add new users account. I will just create any name you can give. I will just give the app username. Okay, and the password again, I will generate. Okay, this is a difficult password to remember, so I'll just copy. This is my app user password. Okay, and I will use this password. Just add. So now new users is available, app users. Now I'll go to Cloud SQL and try to use using the Cloud SQL Studio AppDB database, and users, app users, password. I will paste the password, authenticate. So it will have a UI. So to be honest, I am not much comfortable with this UI. So here you can write the same queries, show tables, users, select star from users. So all basic operations you can do, whatever you are doing from the Cloud Shell or the MySQL Workbench, all operations you can do from here as well. So this is kind of inbuilt query editor for you. You can use this as well. So hope you understood how we can create a Cloud SQL instance and connect to a Cloud SQL instance using a MySQL Workbench, using a Cloud Shell, and using a Cloud SQL Studio. So both all the three options are available. It's up to you how which options you want to use. Now there are few more features like backups, replicas, and if you go here, there we are having option like import, export, and if you go on the first page, there is again the options of the database migration. So all these things we are going to do hands-on in our this series. So just stay tuned, watch the further videos as well, and you will learn all the basic things and advanced things required for Cloud SQL. So we'll just stop here for this video, and we'll see the rest of the features in our next video. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you again in a next video.